Welcome to our 2020 top 5 tax tips and reminders. These are geared more toward business owners, but the last two, again, geared toward business owners, you may probably have not heard of them. And if you don't take advantage of them this year in 2020, definitely put them on your radar for 2021. But this video here that I'm recording right now is Sunday evening, December 20th, and we just got news from Congress that they've kind of agreed on this next stimulus package. We don't know what the details are, but what we're hearing is there's going to be another stimulus check for $600 going out. Now, if your AGI is greater than 150,000, married, filed, joint, or if you're single and your AGI is 75,000, that's where the phase out starts, and you may not get the full stimulus amount. Secondly, Ppp Loans. We're hearing that there's going to be another round, which is good, but it's going to be more strict. So, it is before, if you're a business owner, you applied for the loans, most likely you got it, and there were some rules around how you were to spend it. But this time, in order to get the funds, you're going to have to prove, and what we're hearing is that your business revenue showed a decrease of 25%, 30%. During the COVID period, even current. So there's kind of more detailed rules around that. Again, we don't know the specifics, but that's what we're hearing. So if you're in certain industries like the restaurant, the travel industry, this is going to be kind of a great news for you. In addition, the PPP loan deductions. So in this video that follows this one, I'm going to talk about how we're seeing a lot of businesses, as they're kind of closing the year, they are not factoring in the loans that are going to be forgiven. So currently, you can't deduct the expenses that you spend on those PPP loans. That's what the IRS came out. Now there's rumors that you might be able to deduct those. So be on alert, and that would change the video that follows this one. And then also the PPP loan forgiveness applications. So those that waited to apply for forgiveness, we understand that there's also even a simpler application. So if your loan was $150,000 or less, it's a real simple form. And if your loan was between $150,000 and $2 million, the loan's even simpler, to the point where you don't need to provide any support, and you're just stating that you use the loans properly and you're asking for forgiveness. So again, those that waited and are still waiting to apply for forgiveness, the process has gotten a lot easier. Now, in terms of not being able to provide support or not having to, we do recommend that you keep your records at least 4 or 5, 6 years, just in case if you ever get audited or if the SBA were to come back and kind of challenge you. So again, these are all kind of proposals out there, and just be on alert for another video from me on the final numbers. Welcome to this year's top 5 tax tips and reminders. We did create another more detailed video that kind of walks through some other tax items for individuals and businesses, but as we kind of round up the year, we thought maybe we just highlight on some of the important reminders more than tax tips, but there's some new items in here. So number 1, payroll. If you're on a cash basis for a small business, so whether you're a sole proprietor, S Corp, C Corp, LLC, partnership, and you have employees and you're running payroll and you're on cash basis for tax, just make sure that you run your payroll by like December 20th, 29th. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that the payroll company processes the payroll, but the cash gets taken out of your company bank account by December 31st, and you don't want to run it on the 30th or 31st. And you may want to call your payroll provider just to make certain that whatever date you have in mind on running it, that cash leaves the bank before the end of the year. Because if you were to run it on the 31st, that payroll gets included in your employee's W-2, but the cash may not leave the bank until the 1st or 2nd. So on your financial statements, you're going to show payroll, in 2021, when in reality it was in 2020. So just make certain of that. Secondly, we're seeing a lot of this on a lot of smaller businesses, those under 25 million in revenue. that got a PPP loan. They followed the rules, but they didn't apply for forgiveness, which is okay. But currently how the law states is whether you applied for it or not, and the intent is you use the money correctly and you are going to get it forgiven, that this amount has to be shown as like other income for tax purposes. So what we're seeing is a lot of income statements that kind of show, the expenses that were used with these funds, but we're not showing the forgiveness. So a lot of companies are kind of showing like a break even, or slight, net income. But when you transfer this money over, then they're showing a big income, so a bigger tax liability, which means, bigger profit leads to bigger tax liability. So as you're doing kind of year-end tax planning, make sure that you kind of factor this in. Next, and this is, tax planning 101 here, is if you can defer your revenue billings. I know we just got, 10 more days left of the year, but that's something to do, and an increase in any expenses or spending. So a lot of companies, they're in a healthy cash position. They plan on, spending in January, but why not, kind of increase that and do it in December here, whether it's buying laptops, if your company uses trucks for its purpose, you maybe buy some of those vehicles. But also keep in mind, for cash flow purposes, you want to have at least, especially if you have employees, 2 months of cash flow, because who knows what's going to happen in January and February. So if you got a healthy balance sheet and you got a lot of cash out there, and you're kind of showing a profit right now, that's kind of one way of doing it. You can also kind of, give employees, bonuses as well. So just keep that in mind. Now, another item, and this is all kind of proposals, and we don't know what the new administration is going to do, but there's rumors that those that have an S Corp, sole proprietor, LLC, there's that, QBID, qualified business income tax deduction, the 20%. There's talks that might change, and the threshold might change as well. So we're hearing companies are actually trying to increase their billings this year, in anticipation of some type of tax law. But if the GOP kind of retains the Senate, maybe some of these tax changes may not happen. So this guidance right here, deferring revenue billings, increase expenses, is kind of like a general kind of safe harbor. The fourth item is the Augusta Rule. This has kind of been out there, but it's kind of one of those, tax tips here. So if you own a business, there's a rule called the Augusta Rule where you can rent out your home to your business for 14 days during the year, and those days cannot be consecutive, and the income, as a business owner that you're getting from your business would not be included as income to you, so you wouldn't have to pay tax on that. But at the same time, it's an expense of the company. So it's another way to kind of reduce your tax liability. And of course, this all came out with the Masters Golf Tournament. So anyways, one thing that you need to keep in mind is you got to have a written agreement between your company and you stating, okay, here's the rental cost per day, and here's the kind of the arrangement. So you want to make sure you have support and items on file for that. So I think for a lot of companies, this might be a 2021 tip for you. And then finally, if you're a sole proprietor or if you're in a spousal partnership, you can hire your children if they're ages 8 to 17, assuming they can kind of do the work that you're asking them to do. But the one perk on that is your children don't have to pay Medicare or Social Security tax. So essentially, as a business owner, you're paying them. That kind of goes in their pocket, and they don't have to worry about Social Security or Medicare tax. So that's a little tax savings there. So hopefully these tips help. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be creating a lot more of these videos out there. Appreciate it.